Clemson Tigers continue to be on the prowl and adding more talent to this defense coming in for the 2024 recruiting class. Who is the latest four-star commit to come to the Tigers? I'll tell you about them next on the Locked On Clemson Podcast.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Clemson family? Welcome back to the Locked On Clemson Podcast, your daily podcast covering your Clemson Tigers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find and follow me on Twitter at DP_NFL. I'm a national scout over with the Draft Network, as well as part of the co-host team of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. And guys, I thank y'all for tapping in with me. Thank you for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every single day, Monday through Friday. Thank y'all for being my every single dayers, man. And happy Monday to you. Do you smell that? Do you just take a whiff? Take a sniff. You smell that? It's football in the air. NFL training camps are starting. The Clemson Tigers and a lot of other college football teams are just a couple weeks out from fall college football camp, and then college football will be here before we know it, and we'll have live football to talk about, guys. So again, appreciate y'all sticking with me, but we have a fun show today. We're kicking it off with some fireworks, with some good news, but we're going to talk about some of these young DBs for Coach Reed that's ready to make an impact in 2023. What freshmen that we need to keep our eyes on offensively in camp, as well as we're going to kick the show off with on the prowl, another four-star commit. And I told you guys, that's what I'm worried about right now. I want to get in some of these 3 and 4 stars in here. And one thing about it is, I'm going to hit you, if you need a tagline, here's the tagline. Dabo Swinney knows how to get defenders. He knows how to recruit and how to land high-impact, high-level defensive players, because 4-star commit Corian Gipson announced, I believe it was Saturday. He announced that he is going to be a Clemson Tiger. And the reason why I saw it, because I follow Brian. I follow Westco, the wide receiver, the 5-star wide receiver that we brought in, and he's a commit. He retweeted it, and showing his excitement for it and everything. And man, I'm telling you now, guys, Corian Gipson is a player. He's a legitimate athlete, man. 6 foot even, 170 pounds, a consensus 4-star recruit, right? In most places, whether it's 27 Sports, 1.com, Rivals, whatever, most of them have him as a top 15 cornerback in the entire nation for the 2024 class. And as well as, being one of the top players in the state of Texas. He's from Lancaster, Texas. And, he had offers, man, from TCU, Alabama, Ohio State, as well as Texas, right? So Clemson, the crazy thing about it is his visits. So peep the timeline, his visits. Clemson, he came to Clemson June 2nd, went to Ohio State June 16th. TCU June 14th, Texas June 23rd. So Texas had looks like he didn't go on the visit at all to Alabama. But that's the thing. Like, again, out of state recruiting is so pivotal. Yes, you need to keep you need to keep your players in state too. But getting those guys out of state is big time in recruiting. If you could pull those 4 and 5-star recruits, those top level recruits from other states, and weaken the teams in that state, right, to strengthen your own team, you gotta love that. You gotta appreciate that, man. And like I talked about, I love this, man, because a couple episodes ago, right, I believe we talked about just bringing in more defensive backs with one of the latest recruits that we have as well. So you sit there with, I think it was Ashton Hampton, and he was a 3-star. Some people, be like, oh, that's not, he's a 3-star DP. Who cares? No. He's a player, right? He's a player who's versatile. He can play wide receiver. He can play corner. He can play safety. He's got the physical tools. But when you look at Corian Gipson, he's a little bit on the slender side. I believe he's just at 170. But you look at his track, this kid back in April of this year, They got verified results. Shout out to 24/7 Sports, where they dropped, he in a 100-meter dash, he ran a 10.62, a 10.62. For reference, DK Metcalf, the star wide receiver from Seattle Seahawks, I believe it was last summer, did a trial run with the with professional track athletes at a professional track event, and I believe he ran 10 in the 10 threes, right? And this is a 24, 25-year-old grown man. So for this 16, 17-year-old kid going into his last year of high school to hit 10.6 in the 100-meter dash lets you know how fast he is. And even just looking more, as a junior, he ran, they have his athletic background, ran sub 11 in the 100-meter dash, qualifying in Texas 5A regionals. Those times range from 10.62, which was the fastest, to 10.98. And everything like that. Ran anchor for all three of Lancaster's sprint relays, including the regional qualifying 4x1 and 4x4 anchor leg. He is the anchor leg in the 4x1, 4x2, 4x4. He did this as a sophomore in the spring of last year in 2022. So this young man and his times have been getting better too. Because you go back to early as a freshman, he was 11.2 in the 100, 23.4 in the 200. Then a year later, 10.74 in the 100. And 20 and still in that 23 range in the 200. So he's a legitimate athlete, man. And that versatility, being that multiple sport guy, understanding, being able to open his gate and turning and running with wide receivers. And for him to be, he's 6 foot 170, right? I think you can get him up to 175, 180, and you'll be fine. I don't think he needs to get up to 195, 200. That's not really overly necessary. And then you really trust what you see from him. And the crazy thing about 24/7 Sports even wrote down, he owns the physical tools and athleticism to play just about anywhere in the secondary. Originally projected as a safety, but we now view him as a true corner prospect, especially considering extensive snaps on the outside. Possesses a wiry frame at 6 foot and slightly plus length in the arms that shows in his ability to crowd, catch windows, and pester receivers at the line of scrimmage. So you love to hear that, because it lets you know that if you want to put him up on the line of scrimmage and play man-to-man bump and run type of coverage, he can be an irritant. He can get in the way and really frustrate wide receivers, because that's what they want. Free releases, guys. They want free releases. But if you can get up there and really make them work, releases, make them actually have to have a release package, right? Have to alter it, things like that. They have to get into a bag. If they don't have a bag, it's typically difficult to win against a guy that's comfortable and confident in press coverage. So with Ashton Hampton and now Corian Gipson in the fold, right? And you look at what Dabo is doing, and just continue, Darian Mayo, just continually, I love it. Just continuing to add defenders, right? Continue to add defenders and getting these guys, because at the end of the day, playing defense still matters. I know it's a QB game now. I know it's a passing game, but getting defenders always matters, man. And especially, having this young man, and you already have what you're going to talk about later, a lot of young DBs already from the 2023 class that are getting ready who are getting ready for camp and hope to make an impact. You got a young man in Corian Gipson, young men, Ashton Hampton as well, where you look at the cornerback room, the safety room, the secondary room for your Clemson Tigers, and you should feel excited. There's a lot of talent in here, a lot of talent to be molded by Coach Mike Reed. Coach Reed is going to have his hands full with a lot of this talented kids that he's going to just have a blast with, in terms of getting these young men developed and ready to go, ready to play ball, ready to go out there and do what is necessary, guys. But you're talking about doing what is necessary, playing ball. Listen, camp is almost here. And I looked at some freshmen, got a couple of names I wanted to drop, some guys that on the offensive side of the ball that I'm excited to see. I want to see what these young men are going to bring to the table. And we're going to talk about it next, coming up on the Locked On Clemson Podcast. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes down to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit, or you get your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game, baby, when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. So get the right parts, the right fit, the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride, baby. eBay guarantee fit only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only, and exclusions apply. Garrett Riley's offense. We talked about it last week when Mike Matthews decided to go to Tennessee. And what did I say? It's no big deal. I'm not worried. Why? Because there's enough playmakers for this new air raid offense that Coach Garrett Riley is going to run here for your Clemson Tigers. So when you really look at everything in general, right, there's a lot of names that we talked about, right? We got Bo Collins returning. You got Cole Turner, Antonio Williams, all those guys, right? Jake Brenningstool at tight end. But then you got to think about Adam Randall, right? Troy Stellato. Like, there's a lot of players. And then when you look at the 2023 class of receivers, you have Ronan Hannafin, Tyler Brown, Missoon Kelly. So you have playmakers that Garrett Riley, and he said this at the media day last Tuesday, I believe, that he's excited to see a lot of these guys, in fall camp, because a couple of them missed the spring camps in the spring game due to some lingering injuries. So with guys being healthy, like Adam Randall is healthy and everything like that, for guys to be healthy, I'm telling you, what I am looking for and what I'm excited about is seeing these freshmen really ready to take that next step, right? And ready to take that next step and make the necessary plays. Because at the end of the day, you need these kids to come in and be ballers early, if they can get on the field. If they can get on the field, that's what you want. You want that. You need that. So when you think about the Ronan Hannafin 6'3", 205, like, this is a young man that is really talented. He was one of the best players in the state of Massachusetts. And for me, being, he was recruited by former receiver Chancey Stuckey. This kid enrolled, this summer, and for he already has that prototypical NFL outside X receiver type of size, and he was a versatile kid coming out of high school, right? He played wide receiver, linebacker, and safety, of return punts as well. So you have a versatile athlete that can actually make plays that on different parts of the field, and on both offense and defense. And with that being said, like, you want to see what he can bring on, because what I envision, and just reading up on some stuff that from updates, the ideal offense is going to look like more than likely, if you think about 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets, you're going to see more of the Adam Randall, potentially Cole Turner as the 2 outside receivers, and throwing Antonio Williams in the slot, the motion guy, really be able to stress defenses and their discipline. Because when guys go into motion, it's like, all right, is it man, is it zone? You want coverage indicators to be able to showcase those things. So, being able to see, okay, what if Adam Randall battles injuries again? What if Bo Collins battles injuries again, right? Like, you get to a situation where you're like, okay, like, we need to make sure we have the talent that's going to be able to step in. And I believe that we do, Now, of course, with Tyler Brown and Missoon Kelly, those are 2 smaller, probably more explosive type of receivers. 5'11", 170 pounds for Tyler Brown, and 5'10", 170 pounds for Kelly. Definitely a different situation than what 6'3", 205 Ronan Hannafin will bring to the team and to this offense. But the quote from Coach Riley said, "I'm anxious to see the rest of these guys. We've had a lot of guys in during the summer. I've had some guys missing during spring football. So we've had quite a few guys that I haven't necessarily seen perform or practice. And I'm excited to see everybody just to kind of see how we've progressed since spring football. I know we have a lot of confidence going with our group right now with how things are going during the summer. The player-led practices that they are doing on their own are going really well for them. Just excited to get back out there with them. You know, you think about, again, having K.A. Klubnik, right? A guy that can create on his own and everything, and just having those big bodies. We saw in the glimpses of Cole Turner towards the end of the season, of the 2022 season, we saw what that a bigger body, athletic, that can go up and make plays can do for the confidence of a quarterback. When you can just kind of lob it up there and say, listen, big fella, go get this alley-oop for me. Go get this ball. Go up there and put, I always like to say, put it where the kids can't get it, right? Kids can't get things off. They can't get to the cereal on top of the refrigerator, guys. So you want to put it on the top shelf where only the grown folks can get it. So the grown folks like me still, I'm a little on the shorter side, but that's neither here nor there. But the point is, I'm excited for Ronan Hannafin, especially because that size, right? The athleticism, the speed. You want to see, can he separate versus college corners, right? You want to see what he can do for your offense. Is he, because I look at Bo Collins and I say, yes, there's some flashes of him winning outside, but I feel like with his athletic profile, I feel like he's probably better as a big power slot, right? So is Ronan Hannafin more of an outside receiver like Adam Randall and Cole Turner? Can he live on the outside, or is he someone that you're going to have to relegate to being a big power slot and work out of the slot, versus nickel corners? We don't know. Definitely looking forward to finding out. So he's a name that I'm really excited about. But even, like I said, Tyler Brown and Masoon Kelly, when you think about these freshman receivers coming in bringing in the explosiveness, the speed, the ability to be kick and punt returners as well. And anytime, same thing with Hannafin, he was just a bigger punt returner. But when you think about what these young men can bring to the table, you get excited about it simply because you need as much athleticism and speed. Especially in the air raid offense that does have pre-snap motion, you don't want Antonio Williams to be the only guy, right? You don't want him to be the only guy that you can rely upon to go in motion and stress, and stress these defenders and make them have to focus on, right? You want to be able to move multiple guys around, right? So Troy Stiletto, same thing, right? You want to have a lot of options to do that. And I think Tyler Brown, Masoon Kelly is another one from Central South Carolina. I think these guys will bring that kind of manufactured touch ability to this offense and just being that athleticism. And you want that. So especially with K.A. Klubnik, who can create and do different things. So I'm excited, man, for these freshmen, just to see what they can do in camp, see how creative. Garrett Riley, man, is a very creative OC. So I saw it firsthand watching that TCU offense, and I think that you give them enough weapons, enough pieces, which I believe we have with the current guys, the older guys, I guess you could say, right? And then also the new true freshmen that are coming in. He gets his hand on some of these guys, and you're like, okay, listen, we want to keep this guy active. We don't want to redshirt him, coach. We want to keep him active and allow them to make the plays necessary. So looking forward to fall camp and see who's going to stand out. But you're talking about standing out. Coach Reed's young DBs are ready to stand out and make plays. So we're going to talk about those guys coming up next on the Locked On Clemson Podcast. Assistant head coach and cornerbacks coach Mike Reed, at the age of 50, is ready to see his young players thrive. He wants to see these young players make plays. And it's crazy because I talked about in the last segment, Masoon Kelly, he's an athlete. So he's a receiver, but also a DB. So that's going to be the other part of camp. I forgot to mention. That's the other part of camp that I'm looking forward to is like, okay, is he going to play receiver? Or is he going to be more of a DB? Or is he going to play both sides of the ball? You know what I'm saying? When you're that type of talent athletically, it doesn't really matter, right? But when you think about the newcomers that he has in his 2023 class, Brandon Strozer, Shelton Lewis, Avion Terrell, Terrell, that's AJ Terrell, former Clemson All-Pro cornerback for the Atlanta Falcons. That's his younger brother. And, Coach Reed is excited for these young men, right? And the crazy thing about it is when you look at Shelton Lewis, out of this group of guys, he was the only one that was an early enrollee. And then he went through some practices for Clemson's Orange Bowl versus Tennessee, right? As well as the spring practices. And Coach Reed said he likes what he's seeing from seeing so far, and that Lewis is just different, right? So you think about this. We have Nate Wiggins. We have the depth that we have at cornerback right now. But clearly Coach Reed, wants to see his young 2023 class defensive backs get on the field and play in like prominent, meaningful snaps. Not just, we're on the field because we're up 45-10 versus Georgia Tech. No, he wants them on the field. And his quote on Lewis, you don't see him cut like that anymore. Coach Reed said about Lewis. He's a young man who is focused, has a leadership quality, is not afraid to voice his opinions with the older guys. A lot of times you have freshmen come in who sit over there and you never hear them. Shelton is a guy that he's going to get on the older guys. He wants to be good. He wants to be coached. It's a pleasant surprise to see him go to work. It kind of gives you that Mackenzie Alexander type of feel and work ethic where he's just going to work. And you listen, you love to hear that, right? For a freshman to come in, and it's just like NFL football, right? A rookie comes in, and you have some rookies who got to get the field. They don't want to overstep their boundaries with the grown men in the NFL locker room. And man, I'm new here, right? I can't tell these guys what to do. I can't hold these guys accountable. When you can, because you're their teammate. If they mess up, you can speak on that. Like, hey, big fella, I need you to get on your horse next time, right? You ran at half speed, and that's why you didn't get to the quarterback. Come off the ball, big fella. Pat on the back, pat on the helmet, and keep it pushing. But this young man said, Shelton with Lewis, Shelton Lewis comes in, and Coach Reed said, no, he's not. He's not going to back down. Like, he's going to step up and tell Nate Wiggins, hey, that coverage, hey man, you got to communicate better on that. You got to tell me, hey, I got the inside. If he goes inside, I got inside. I'll follow him, and man, you switch off, right? Because that's what those switch routes and those switch releases, you call it scissor action. Where one receiver goes one way, the other one crosses the other way, and it creates confusion in terms of man-to-man principles and stuff like that. So communication is big pre-snap. Hey, if he goes in, you got him. If he goes out, I got him. Or if he goes in, I got him. If he goes out, you got him. You know what I mean? You play on different levels in terms of one guy being closer to the line of scrimmage, the other one playing about 5 to 6 yards off and giving cushion. So if you need to crisscross, you don't run into each other. So having a young man that possesses the leadership qualities and the outspokenness to really drill that home to the vets, man, you gotta love that, right? And that's what, for him, I'm excited to see him in camp as well, to see what he's going to be able to do and how he's going to be able to handle the Antonio Williams. I think that this cornerback room and these wide receivers, it's going to be some spirited wide receiver DB one-on-one drills, right? 7-on-7s and stuff like that. There's going to be some spirited reps because there's a lot of competitive guys that's going to be able to make plays. And Coach even talked about, like I said, Missoon Kelly, a guy that played both offense and defense, and he said he wants to figure him out. He wants him to figure out a way to get on the field no matter what roles he's playing. So I said at the top of the segment, this is a young man that you might see him on both offense and defense, right? So you think about that, and then for me also Avion Terrell, does the talent is it really in the bloodlines, right? Like he's a little shorter. I think he's listed at 5'10", 5'11", if I'm not mistaken. 5'11", 170, right? And I believe his brother, AJ Terrell, is like 6'1", over 195, 200 pounds, right? So I want to see just how talented this kid is and how good he can be. Does he's not the father, but does the apple fall from the tree, or is that talent pool just deep? And he knows how to play cornerback just like his all-pro brother. We're gonna find out, but I'm excited because having these young guys that are going to be able to come in and get reps, and you're talking about giving, really being creative when you can trust the young guys to come in. If you want to send blitz packages, right? What if Wes Goodwin, a defense coordinator, wants to get a little more aggressive in his style of play, right? Having guys like this will definitely help. And I'm excited. Like I said, at the end of the day, guys, I am so excited for the young talent, the freshman offensive players I talked about in the second segment, and then now these young 2023 freshman DBs. And again, as I talked about at the top of the show, we got more talented DBs coming in for the 2024 class. Man, somebody's going to have to get have to sit out a year the way it's looking. But shout out to Dabo Swinney and Coach Mike Reed for doing their things and recruiting, and Wes Goodwin as well. They're building this defense, man, and I'm excited to see how good these young players are going to be in the near future. But guys, thank y'all for joining me. Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Thank y'all for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every single day, Monday through Friday, whenever I drop these episodes. Appreciate all the love and support on YouTube. Let's continue to grow the channel, guys. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit the bell notification so that you're updated. We're trying to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers, guys, especially when once football season is, we're trying to be all systems go. So share it with other Clemson fans. On the audio side as well, do the same thing, guys. Do the exact same thing on the audio side as well. Go subscribe, download, share, leave a 5-star review, okay, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you listen to. Go do that and go show some love, man. Let's build this podcast up so we can have a great time, this football season. And like I said, I'll have the Patreon and Discord channel up for those asking for film sessions and everything like that. I'm gonna have that for you guys. I promise. I see your requests. And we're gonna have a good time in 2023. But guys, listen, on tomorrow's show, we'll get back into checking the tape. Talk about Will Shipley and continue to keep our eyes on the prowl for recruiting. As always, in terms of Twitter, you can find and follow me, DP_NFL on Twitter. Talk to me because I talk back. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Go Tigers.